college football, played in the league, and is doing some great things in the business world. And so, regardless of how good you are in sports or athletics, that part of your life is going to end early. Even if you have an amazing career like Kobe and you play almost 20 years, or like LeBron, you're still going to be in your 30s at the, if you played an extremely long period of time. So you have so much life after that. Again, I want to give him a few moments, just to be able to share some of what he's doing, and to be able to kind of take you behind the veil. So I appreciate you carving out time. He had a lot of stuff going on this week with the NFL draft and some of the projects that he's actually doing. But I appreciate you coming out today. Yep.
All right, so I guess I'll take it over. My name is Micajah Reynolds. Everybody call me Kaj. I grew up here in Detroit. I went to high school in Lansing. My mom's went to Michigan State. I didn't think I was going to go there. I had like 40 offers coming out of college, and I swore I was going to get up out of here. But Michigan sucked at the time, and D'Antonio came to me, and we had a connection, and I liked the things he was talking about, so I ended up going there. So I like to call, I'm actually writing a book right now, and like the subtitle, I'm working on the title and shit, but the subtitle is the Tales from the Last Modern Slaves, right? So my name's Micajah. I'm named after my fifth great grandfather. He was the last slave to come over here or to be born before the Emancipation Proclamation, where slaves were freed and all that stuff. And so then I come around 5 generations later, and I'm the last slave before NIL comes and whatnot. So I ain't had to. Y'all don't have to suffer anymore like we did. I like to think that we paved the way for all that stuff. But yeah, so I went to Michigan State, played there, Spartan Dogs. Went to the Rose Bowl, had a really good collegiate career. Started off on offense, switched to defense my junior year, had never played defense, and still wound up going to the league. I played for Baltimore and Miami, which was an interesting time because I went undrafted. I chose not to go and do certain stuff. I had injuries, so I went undrafted. Ended up having to go to like the little rookie camps that they got and beat out like 40 people every camp, which, not looking back, it's like, damn, it's kind of crazy. Like, there was dudes I knew who I would go train with, and you got to go beat them out for a job, and there's only going to be one of them, one spot for y'all and whatnot. So played the ball for a minute. It was cool. Everything that you dream of and more work than anything. Networked a lot, made the team in Baltimore, and then during the game, I had a spinal cord injury, and it was kind of out of nowhere. I ended up having to retire. How many of y'all know who Chris Bosh is? You know Chris Bosh? All right. So Chris Bosh had blood clot issues after he had an injury and nearly died from it. I had a similar situation where when I went under the knife and shit, I had blood clots. And so spent the next 3 years rehabbing and learning how to walk again. The nurse come to me before I had my first surgery. She was like, you about to have hobby surgery. I'm like, the hell is hobby surgery? You know what I'm saying? She's like, you need to find a new hobby because you ain't going to be able to do nothing for like a year. So went and got like all the production, music stuff I could find because I knew I'd be laid up in the bed, and had surgery, had some complications, was forced to retire because of like blood issues and stuff, and didn't know what I was going to do. It was like kind of a rough transition, you know what I'm saying? Most athletes, really all athletes go through it. And it's just a matter of, are you going to be successful in that time? Are you going to make it through that? Are you going to have a support system that's going to help you out to, not go crazy? And niggas be worried about, people be worried about like what the perception is of other people like outside of sports and whatnot. So that's one of the things that like people like deal with, myself in particular, a lot of cats that I know that play, like, what are people gonna look at me as because I've only been known as an athlete? You wanna be known as something more, right? You wanna be known as an intellectual, being able to use your mind, being able to think, be a creative, whatever it is. So when I figured out that I wasn't gonna play ball anymore, I said, all right, what am I passionate about? And I looked at the different things. I still love the game, but my thing was, if I can't play the game, I love coaching and all that, but like the hours you gotta put into it, ain't for me. So I looked at other things. I was like, I love music and production. When got all the stuff, started working and practicing in that. I went to YouTube University. I literally was on YouTube for like half a year, learning aperture, learning shutter speed, learning lighting, different things like that, and practicing for small businesses, doing things like that. Next thing you know, I'm shooting music videos. So I wound up shooting a few videos for different artists. I think one of the bigger ones was like I shot one for Icewear Vezo, and that kind of helped project me and get my portfolio to where it needed to be. Next thing you know, I'm networking with some folks. Somebody mentions that they like the creative work that I'm doing. I had written a couple of little example pieces or whatever, narrative pieces, and next thing you know, I get a job offer from Madden and EA Sports. So I go to EA, and actually I guess I could share all this stuff. I started doing narrative writing for them and different things like that, a lot of different things. And the next thing you know, I ended up writing the My Player mode for Madden 23 and 24. So all the like scenarios and all that stuff, I did that. So I got like a little video that I did, or that we had to have while I was working there. I'm excited about. Oh, hold on one sec, let me. So this is like an old one that I've done. If it can play. Oh shit. Is this where the volume is on here? Yeah. Okay, but. So this is like when we were getting ready to do Madden 23. Oh shit.
I'm excited about where we're headed with Cyber.
This is like the little presentation we had to create to show the executives of literally writing out the story modes and doing things like that, testing it out. So like the schedule and all that, I threw all that in. I created all like the events and whatnot. Some of them they changed a couple of the names and whatnot. Yeah, so I did that for 23 and 24 and whatnot. And then I was part of the, how many of y'all heard of the writer's strike that took place? Okay, so there was a big writer's strike that took place in Hollywood, right? Where basically anybody that was writing for any TV shows, anything like that, basically went on strike because we were like, it's not fair for what we getting paid, the wages, all that stuff. And next thing you know, the games were being affected by it too, right? So writers for games ended up going on the strike as well, and those who were under contract didn't get renewed because they're trying to, work the whole thing out. So I ended up leaving Madden after 24, had to get back to like the grind and figure out what I was gonna do and stuff, right? That's my little man. And so I spent like the next year working things out. My bad, I guess this is a slideshow now, so that's that little man again, me and play. But we ended up doing my thing, doing some more writing stuff, doing more work for some of the smaller companies. And then I was approached by a company called Status Pro and NFL Pro Era. And they are basically rivals Madden, or Madden's rival. They are the only other licensed NFL game, and they are only available on the Oculus, and it will be on Apple Vision as of next year. But so for them, I ended up doing, or being asked to do a bunch of the narrative stuff that I was doing for Madden. And on top of that, I actually got asked to do music because I do a lot of music stuff as well and produce. And so I ended up I currently have 20 instrumentals on the game, and we are currently working out a deal with 2 major record labels. So I'm actually gonna get placements with their artists for the next version of the soundtrack, and I'm co-executive producing it. So some of the people here in Detroit that I've been trying to get into scoring for video games, for movies. How many of y'all heard of Helliva? Y'all never heard Helliva before? Helliva made this? Yeah, man, he made all y'all favorite shit. Okay, so y'all know if you heard him. So, so we just got Helliva to check and little stuff. And we got a bunch of different artists that we're working with that. I'll show this right now, because I'm also doing voiceover work now. So I'm one of the main coach characters on the game and whatnot too. But this is the one that we shot with Lamar for last year. For the game, give me 2 seconds.
You're not the only QB out here anymore. You got what it takes to go head to head.
So that's what I'm doing right now. We're in the middle of big activations for the draft. This is probably the biggest event we'll have for the year. It's been really dope so far. They've allowed me to do a lot of cool things within the game. We got a lot of systems we're trying to put in. I'm not a coder, right? But one of the cool things is they basically provided a coder that's attached to me. Anything I want to do, we work it out, get it installed, take it to our superiors. By doing little things like making decks like the one I showed you first. And if you can learn little stuff like that and learn like what the corporate companies want and create basically just, cycles of creating things like that, getting it approved and keep moving up, things like that. So yeah, that's what I do right now. I don't really have much else besides that because it's mad stuff, but I'm sure might be some questions, might not. But yeah, that's me. That's what I do, so.
Go ahead and give a hand. Or also, he hit some pretty good points. So, in terms of VC back startups that have black founders, is only 1%, right? So a lot of us are creative, but we're typically not the technical founder. But the one point you hit at the end, in terms of them connecting somebody who codes, it puts them in a position to be able to work on amazing projects like that. And so lots of times we have to find out, the yin to our yang, right? And so maybe we can major in majors and minor in minors and find other people that we can connect with. I love the work that you're doing. Are there any questions that you have? Any quick questions?
So we're gonna be at the corner ballpark, Pal's headquarters. We got game activations there. We can come try it out and everything. We show you a little bit of how we make it, and then we're also gonna have an activation at the actual draft site, like off of the main stage. So I'm gonna be downtown literally all week. So we're gonna come try it out. Come over to the corner ballpark. Hell no, I just made it. I mean, I did, but like, you don't really think about it when you're in the height of. I just signed a contract for 3 years and some M's, and now it's like, oh, okay, I can't do that. I can't actually collect on that cheese. I'm gonna get it for this year because they got to keep me on IR, but I knew after the first surgery, I was like, it's over, it's a wrap. And so I had an idea of what I didn't want to do, which was, I know that I can only do things that I'm passionate about, and I can only do things that stimulate me and I can get excited about and things like that. And 90% of the time, that's not working in something that's not creative or corporate. You know what I'm saying? And it's funny because I met Tatiana. We're all about to be adults here. I met Tatiana working in. So when I first got out of football, I was selling corporate weed and shit, and was doing that for like 2 years and was making great cheese.
Yeah, that's called cannabis.
Yeah, cannabis weed, whatever. Y'all know what it is. So I was doing that, and it was cool, but it wasn't an industry that I could get behind because I wasn't passionate about it. And there's a lot of greed and things like that, and when that kind of stuff interferes, that's why it's just always better to know what it is that you want to do and where you're willing to sacrifice all the hours and whatnot. Like, what would you do for free? Like, that's really the mentality that I took at first. What would I do for free for like the next 3 years where I wouldn't see a check, but I would enjoy what I was doing? And that's kind of where I just went from there, so. Any other questions? Yeah.
What would you say to how can I put it? A lot of times we're told no matter what we're pursuing, like go after it,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you can, like get a plan B. If you really want to be successful and be at the top, go for your plan A, like that's your only option. So what would you say to that, knowing that?
Yeah, I kind of agree with that, but at the same time, it's one of those things where it's whatever you're gonna put the most time and effort into, right? So whether that's your plan A or plan B, it's about the time that you're putting into that stuff. Now, it's always great to have a plan B, and I personally, like I say, I kind of had one, but I hadn't put any effort into it, right? So I knew what it was that I wanted to do, kind of, but I had not put effort into it. I would say if I could do it over again, I probably still would have been a little bit more, I'd have been focused on plan A, right? But I still would have been working B just a little bit more. Just a little bit, just because like you can't completely have it where you haven't put any type of effort into anything that that you're looking to do outside of your main thing. So let the main thing be the main thing, but still make time for that. secondary thing. And that's kind of where like you have to be disciplined about what it is that you want to do in terms of like your schedule and your friends, and you can't do it all. You really can't do it all. So it's really like buckling down and figuring out, okay, how much do I want to sacrifice? How much time? How successful do I really want to be in this thing? Because whether it's football, whether it's this, the time is the same. The energy and the effort is the same. It's just a different subject matter. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. I don't know if that helped, but.
Real quick, and we'll get to it. So where was your head kind of at, like after you got hurt, and like after you got surgery, like what was that time between like the last surgery and like when you started figuring out like what you wanted to do?
Probably like 6 months, because I literally couldn't. Like I went from having a nice crib, at a dope place in Baltimore to being back in your mom's crib and she being your nurse, and you can barely wipe your own ass type shit. So, like, it took me a while to kind of accept the situation. You know what I'm saying? Saying, look, this is where it is right now. You know what I'm saying? We can fold like most of these cats, or we can be the intelligent person that you know you are and go get this shit in another lane. It's still time, you're still young, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where it was for me. And it takes a while to get to that, you know what I'm saying? Like, you put 18, 20 some years into playing ball or whatever your whole life, and now you gotta figure something else out, like that too, and you're not a kid no more, people ain't trying to support you like that. It's tough, it's for real tough, and you see who your real circle of friends are, you see who your real support system is, you see who your real family is. It was family that was at my game every week at Michigan State when I was playing ball and whatnot. And then as soon as I got hurt, man, I still ain't heard from some of these cats. You know what I'm saying? Like, you truly find out what you're made of in those situations. And that's why I appreciate the time at Michigan State, and that's why who you go to for college and all those things is very important. Had I not gone to state and played under D'Antonio, I wouldn't have been as successful as I am right now. I can honestly say that, because they prepared me in the worst ways and made me uncomfortable all the time, that uncomfortable situations I'm comfortable in. Like, I can't really be shook by anything that happens. If I were to lose my job today, I got a plan of action of what I would do. You know what I'm saying? And that kind of prepped me for the real world and real life and what you're gonna have to deal with in those situations, so, yeah.
All right, let's give him a hand.
All right.